Chris Brown always talks about being a West Texas kid and growing up on football. I can't relate at all. I grew up in the pool. I learned how to swim when I was 9 months old. And when I got into high school, it was all about water polo for me. I loved that sport. And then eventually by my senior year, I could hold my own pretty well. And we were doing really good. And our coach, Mr. D, he was a great guy, but one thing he emphasized was character and how we played the game. One day we were going to Berkeley. We ended up having a crazy game. We did so great in that particular match. It was us against them, and they were probably predicted to win, but we came out even though we were the underdog. Well, some of the guys got a little bit crazy afterwards. They trashed the locker room. We ended up taking some of the balls that they ended up having, disrespected some of their players. And the next day we were thinking, oh man, everything was good because we had this great win. And there at the pool on the side of that deck, he ends up gathering us together and he lets us have it. He lets us have it and he says, this is my team. And if you want to play on it, these are going to be the ways that you play it. It was his mic drop moment. And all of a sudden, all of us as seniors who thought we were going to rule the day realized that we had very little power in that moment. It was his team and not ours. My name is Trent Jenkins. I'm one of our pastors with North Coast Church in charge of expansion and online ministries. And I'm privileged to be able to share with you in 1 John chapter 2 today. As we look at this passage, there's this moment here where John says these words. He says this, we know that we have come to know him if we keep his commands, found in verse 3, going on to verse 4. Whoever says, I know him, but does not do what he commands is a liar. And the truth is not in that person. But if anyone obeys his word, love for God is truly made complete in him. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him must live as Jesus did. Boom, mic drop. Like what? Are you serious? I mean, listen to that verse. Whoever claims to live in him must live as Jesus did. I don't know about you, but sometimes the Bible is just so hard to read in terms of how am I ever supposed to live up to that? I feel like I claim to live with Jesus as my Lord and Savior. But here John says, whoever claims to live in him must live as Jesus did. Number one, I think there's this element of understanding whose team we're on. You know, for me as a player in water polo at that point in time, I thought it was my team because I was the captain. But it was a reality check for me to understand whose team I was playing on. And there's a reality here that in this passage, it's a matter of whose team am I on? Is Jesus part of my team and I'm the captain? Or am I part of his team? And there's only one way that he finds acceptable for me to be able to play, and that's his way. And if you want to know what his way is, then do what he did. And as I look at this, I think there's this reality check of like, it's not a matter, can I live up to the righteousness of Christ? No, absolutely not. But it's a matter of, am I trying to? Or am I just excusing my failures because of my sinful human nature and just pushing them to the side? Or am I saying, no, I want to do as well as I can as Jesus did? And how can I know that I'm living in the way that Jesus did? I think we go back to John 15, like Chris talked about this last week in his message. And we can say, those who bear much fruit are connected to the vine, connected to the source, which is Jesus Christ. I want to ask you, how's your fruit? How's your fruit? Are you producing more fruit today than you did last year? We can end up asking some quick evaluation questions. How is your temper? Are you more short-tempered today than you were last week, last month, last year? How's your marriage going? Are you more intimate? Are you more close? Are you in greater relationship with your spouse today than you were a year ago? What about your kids? What about your love for others? Do you find yourself constantly surrounded with the same group of people? Or are you more willing to talk to somebody who doesn't know Jesus today than you did yesterday? I think there's this element, are we growing? Are we growing? And we can ask ourselves, am I growing as a Christian? Am I taking steps of obedience and faith towards walking like Jesus? There's this reality. Whose team are you playing on? Are you adding Christianity to your life? Or are you saying, no, I signed up for Jesus' team. I want to walk in the way that Jesus did. Have a great day, everybody.